Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so happy that you're here with me. I just have to tell you the great news. I got a notification that I'm currently at 295,000 views since late October, early November. I am astounded that so many of you have participated in watching my videos, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. Also, thank you so much for the well wishes for my mother. She had an amazing birthday. Me and Jeremy went up and spent the day with her, and it was an amazing, amazing day. So a few things different in my background. I decided to hang this to show you. And then I have a few things out on my desk. We're going to get right into this video, unlike most of the time what happens with my videos. So I'm going to try and keep the intros a little bit shorter and try and get into some more substance for all of you. And I am going to attempt something I've never tried, but I'm going to try and do a video every day for the next 7 days. It's kind of a challenge that I came up with Tanya at My Jewelry Addiction, and we're going to try and do a 7-day kind of marathon. Okay, so anyways, getting right into this without further conversation, thank you again so much to everyone who has decided to watch my videos and support me. Please go to the subscribe button and please hit the subscribe button. Also, please hit the bell because the bell is already automatically lit up and people think that they're getting notifications when I come on. Just go ahead and hit the bell icon and it will show you that you are then turning on the notifications for my videos. So thank you so much for all of your support. On to this video. So it's a video based on my 27 to 28 year span of going to thrift stores. And basically this video was based on my finds from Goodwill, Salvation Army, the Village Discount Outlet, anywhere that was a thrift rather than an antique shop or an antique mall or an antique show or a flea market. So these are straight out of thrift store finds. I started hunting thrifts in the late 1990s, around 1992, 1993, and then it escalated very quickly to where I would go 2 to 3 times a day. I became very obsessed and very compelled to go on a very frequent basis. I don't think it was the fear of missing out as much as it was, I was building my business, you know? I was heavy on eBay. I was supplying, a lot of different dealers in the area. I was never concerned with potential money. And I'll get into that because I think some of us as dealers fall prey to wanting to get potential money or to maximize, income. And I don't think it's necessarily the best way to grow a business early on. I just did things differently than most people. Not that it was right or wrong, it was just different. Anyways, so my L.E. Smith Bittersweet collection, as you all know, I have, now hundreds of them, but this is the one that started the collection. And look at the top of this one, the tenuous nature of these, well, if it was upside down, those would be drips. And when these were formed, they were swung back and forth to create these pulled-like forms. But can you imagine glass, from that era, from the late 50s, and into the 60s, surviving, these little tendrils of glass and the color, the gradation of color. It also has the Fayette label on the bottom. So it has the Fayette glass label on the bottom. And this was only, back in the day, I think it was like $4 or $5. And that's what started my whole collection. And it was the color and the form that got me on this. And today, now they're revered. So I'll set this one out of the way. Let me put it up here real quick to keep it safe. And then it was this giant one. And this one, look at how optic this is. So again, this is L.E. Smith, and it's bittersweet. But look at how gigantic this one is. I think total it is approximately 32 inches tall. So it's a very large version. But look at the optic nature of how that stretch, how that stretch goes through the glass And then look at the top of it, just again, the color and the patterning and its optical nature and the size of it really got me going. And this one was $28, and now if I were to try and buy this, it's, $300, $400, $500. And if someone's totally crazy on pricing, it's $600 or $700, and again, we were able to find these back in the day. This was, a thrift store dream. When I would go in, I loved them, I guess I was a little ahead of my time on some things that I was acquiring. On to a Viking version. And this one, again, I think this was $8 or $10. It's ruby, and it goes to amberina on the tips, on the very, very tips. It goes into amberina, and it does have the old Viking label on it. Again, $8. And now this one, as Viking, this one's $125 to $145. So again, when I was purchasing these things, I knew that there was still a lot of value left, but at that time, I'm glad I waited to sell, because now I'm going to sell for substantially more money. There were a lot of times when I would flip things right away to be able to then go out and acquire more pieces, So I was a very limited funds for 15 years of my thrifting, and growing my eBay business to what it is today. And then this one is cameo glass, and this one is acid cutback. So cameo glass is reminiscent of cameos in jewelry, and this is just acid cut back, but it's turn of the century. People would probably attribute this to Gallet, but it's not signed, and it's not the quality of Gallet glass. I do have quite a few pieces of Gallet, but this is definitely is not, but still beautifully etched with a grape and tendril design, very Art Nouveau. So right around 1915, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe 1910, but really the size of it and that it had no chips. And again, this one back when it was at Goodwill, and I think it was like $2.99 or $3.99, and I put flowers in it and I used it. And now today, I'm ready to sell it, and let it go for a substantial amount of money. I'll set that out of the way. And then a pair of candlesticks. So these were definitely a small victory. I went into the Discovery Thrift, which is here is not very far from my house. And it is for the benefit of cancer survivors, and it supplies them with necessary funds. And so the bottom is where candlesticks are normally hallmarked. Sometimes they'll be marked on the edge. Most of the time they're marked in the center. Sometimes they're marked on the outside of this bottom. And so I looked at them, and solder seams, because I have a little advantage, I'm a silversmith, so I look at the solder eutectics where the silver is joined together, and that really read as sterling silver. The color read as sterling, but they were priced for $10 for the pair. And I thought, these sure look Israeli, and they look sterling silver. So I looked on the inside here, and there was a ton of wax, and there's still quite a bit down in there. There was a ton of wax on the inside, and I don't know if you can see that, but it says made in Israel, and then it says sterling way down inside of this. That's not normally where candlesticks like this are signed. So please, when you are looking and you're examining things, please look over the whole thing. If there is wax or some sort of, material down inside, please clean it out and take a look on the inside, because that's where these are signed. And again, does it matter? It most certainly does, because these are beautiful Israeli sterling silver candlesticks. They are 12.5 inches tall. They're solid sterling, hand fabricated, absolutely extraordinary. And each one is 7.8 ounces of sterling silver. So just intrinsically in their metal value by today's price, they're probably around $140 to $180, give or take the ebb and flow of the metals market now, and per candlestick. So that's $280, maybe $320 just in silver. And to fabricate these again, it would be extremely expensive. So there's those, and another thrift store score. And then this is the last object besides this is the last object that I brought, and it's printed fabric. And it's from the late 1950s, early 1960s. And again, I think it's still got its tag on it. Somewhere here, it's got like a $1.99 at the Village Discount Outlet. And it's these, it's amazing. It's this straight yardage. I think it's about 7 yards. And it's got its salvage edge information. And look at the patterning of these birds in bird cages. And it's very, very wide, you know, extremely wide. But look at the detail of the bird cages and the tropical birds. The color and the patterning of this really, really had me super excited. And when I saw that from across the thrift, I basically ran to it, you know. I got so excited. I was like, I have to have that regardless of the price. And I think now, if I were to put this on the open market, because of it being a heavier drapery fabric and a great screen printed design, I really think that today's decorators would probably pay, I'm guessing here, around $200 to $300 for this. And might be a little bit less, but it might be a little bit more. It might surprise us. And again, I don't hold out for potential money. I think when you do that, it's almost like waiting for the great pumpkin, you know? It may never come, you know? So I always kind of give the suggestion of don't wait for the potential. And there's always the theory of like, a slow dime or a fast nickel. And I think when it comes to things that you can readily find again, I always suggest to people that you just sell it and move on, you know, and buy something that's a little bit more unusual, a little bit more artistic, and then bank on those things, you know, hold out a little bit on the more unusual, atypical, artisan-made, handmade, something more distinctive. That's always what I did, and it seemed to work very, very well, and it's got me to where I'm at today. So, I don't know why I'm so hunched over in this video, but I'm so excited. We're at 11 minutes, and this, I decided to hang it up on the wall. And this makes me extremely happy. I walked into a thrift. This was on the outskirts of, it was more north of here. So I think it was on the outskirts of Cleveland. And I couldn't tell what this was, you know, from like a vantage point of far away. And what this is incredible. It's completely constructed out of glass seed beads. And it was used on a grave at the turn of the century. It does have a French label, so it was produced in France, and it's made out of, like I said, seed beads that are all tiny little beads that are wired together and then made into flowers, the central crucifixion of Jesus, and then the color and the ornateness, the composition and the craftsmanship that went into this was something that, you know, I was so excited, and I thought, you know, before I got to it, I thought it's going to be at least, back then, I thought it's going to be at least $80, maybe $150. I was prepared for a pretty supreme price. And sure enough, I got to it, and it was $24.99. And today I was offered $700 for it, maybe about 7 to 8 months ago, because again, this downsize for the potential move, things like this have to go because they're a little too fragile to travel. So I wanted to be in good hands, and I decided that, you know, that wasn't enough to motivate me. So I think it's worth around $800 to $1,200. That's what I really think it's worth, and quite an extraordinary thing. I will sneak it down off the wall, and whoops. Here we go. I'll bring it a little bit closer for you to see. It is very, very dusty. So it is extremely, extremely dusty. But look at the beadwork on this, and it's all wired from behind. So it's got all these wires from behind to create this cage-like form. And this was only to be on the grave of a loved person. And to have some sort of sentiment to take home with the loved ones that survived the person that was deceased. So again, this is, I just love this so much. And the work and the craft. Oh, and the Jesus in the center is hollow formed celluloid. So I'm very surprised that it's in as good a condition as it is, because celluloid next to metal, as we've discussed, isn't always necessarily happy, you know? So there's that. I'm gonna hang this back up on the wall as I knock over something else. So I'll hang that back up and keep it safe. But thank you so much. I'm gonna pause the video. We're gonna go over to the light box and I'm gonna show you the incredible treasures, the incredible tiny and shiny things that I found, from paperweights to, of course, jewelry, diamonds, and an extraordinary Cartier ring. So thanks for joining me. I'll be right back with you. Thank you. Wait one sec. Hold on. Okay, so you made it back with me to my light box, and I wanted to start with 3 paperweights. This first one is by Abelman, and I believe that this one, let's take a look here. I think this one is 1991, and it's signed Abelman on the bottom. And this code right here is the inventory code of the artist. So this was definitely one that was cataloged. But look at the coloration and look at the detail in this incredible encased paperweight. The coloration, and again, this electric composition of concentric swirls that almost create a flower blossom. But again, look at the way this glows from inside. It almost looks like it's illuminated from the inside of the paperweight, like it's got a little light bulb on inside of it. I really, truly loved this. And again, being a thrift store find, this was a little bit more expensive than what I was used to paying back then, but I'm so glad I did it. I think it was $30, and that was a lot for me back in the day. And now they go for around $95 to $125, depending on size, condition, and age. But this one really got me going. So that is one of many, many paperweights. I think vintage paperweight wise, I think I'm at 130 or 140. This one is Venetian. I believe it's by Vanini. It's encased, so it's clear with these then striations and forms of turquoise, lime green, and kind of a darker green. But again, its craft and its skill is incredible. Some people would confuse these for paperweights produced in China now. This is definitely not a Chinese paperweight. It's for sure Venetian. It's for sure Italian, definitely by one of the leading makers. But its sheared bottom, the way that this is sheared and polished, the Chinese paperweights are not that well crafted right now because they're producing them so quickly. Also, there are imperfections on the inside of the glass. And again, just the technique to get the separation of color, and also the way that the canes were constructed in such a fine, refined manner. So incredible size, incredible condition. And again, I think this one was $7 or $8, and I wouldn't sell this one for less than around $200 to $250, and maybe a little bit more, maybe $275. So there we go for a little bit more evaluations as I go for you, because I'm going to try and give you much more information on how to make money and also some of the values on some of these things. And I've told you I have many paperweights by Robert Eckholt. And this is one of them. So it's signed on the bottom. It's signed Eckholt right there. This one's dated 1993. All right. So it's Eckholt. You can see there the signature, E-I-C-H. Let's see here. Up, E-I-C-H-O-L-T. Or there, yeah, there is a K there. I'm sorry, I forgot the K. E-I-C-K-H-O-L-T. I think I've got it right now. And if I don't, please Google it and correct me. But this is just a magnificent version of one of his large or magnum paperweights. Look at this alien landscape. It is like a cavernous roller coaster, just internal magic. And then to further the difficult nature of this, he encapsulated trapped air on the inside of the paperweight. So there's trapped air there. And then he controlled bubbled an arc across the top of this alien landscape. That didn't need to be there, but this artist is so versed and so talented with glass, he decided to add in something technically very difficult. But look at the monumental nature, the composition, the coloring, and also he adds iridescence into the blues and into this kind of light blue and almost a light yellow color. But again, I love Eckholt paperweights, and I think of Eckholt. I think this is number 58. I hate to admit it, but I'll bring more. But I just wanted to show you thrift store find. Definitely, they missed the hallmark or the signature on it. I don't know why I called it a hallmark. It's not jewelry, but they missed the signature. And maybe they saw it, but they just didn't know who it was back in the day. And I'm so glad that I kept it because it's a remarkable work of his craft. It's a testament to his craft. So, a sterling silver peacock purse. And again, this is not hallmarked anywhere, but the solder seams say, I am sterling. Unfortunately, the previous owner used it as a hammer. I'm like, why would someone use this to hammer a nail? But they did. Apparently, I guess they couldn't find a hammer, so they decided to use Mom's sterling silver peacock purse, and they used it to hammer a piece of wood. A nail, I mean, you could tell that's a nail head, and they hammered it. I don't quite understand what was going on there. But I guess they always say use the, the right tool for the job. So this is sterling, but you can tell by coloration that this is not plated, and you can tell by that solder seam. Anytime you see a solder seam like that, you can see the secondary metal. That's definitely not plated because it would all be the same color. There is a little bit of green on the top here, and the reason for that is I get questioned about that all the time. Well, if you see verdigris or green, isn't that, silver plate or copper? No, that's where the solder seams are. So the solder seams will sometimes turn green because they have an alloy to be able to solder the piece together. And as a silversmith, I know that because I do it all the time. I've yet to have one of my solder seams go green, but that's because my solder is of higher silver grade, But on these, an ethnic silver like this, and the origin of this purse, I'm not going to say, but look at the way that peacock is grabbing a hold of that snake. Really fantastic, great patination, and it was a purse. So it must have had a chain of some sort. So it was a purse, a container, but it does sit as a sculpture as well, so it's beautiful. I'm guessing the age on this one to be right around the late 1930s, early 1940s. But great work, great craft, sterling silver. And again, this one was, I think, $4. And just sitting out on or $3.99, sitting out on the thrift store shelf, just waiting for me. And I think in silver weight, it's 11 ounces. It's really, really heavy. I think it's 11 ounces. But again, something that if I go to sell it, it's probably now $300 to $350. So an incredible moneymaker. So these are just things that, again, gave me the ability to go out and make money. This is very, very, very cool. So this one I got in 1997 or 1998. And I went to the thrift with my friend Rob. We went to dinner, and I didn't have a lot of money in my wallet. I think I had like $11, or I maybe had $12. It wasn't much. And I used to live off of very little money, and still sometimes do. But this is sterling silver and amber. And it's genuine amber with all its trapped air that has been compressed into these flattened discs of nothing but absolute beauty. And I mean, what an exceptional amber stone, and I turn the light up for you so you can really see that. It's just beautiful. Sterling silver container. There are tiny hallmarks right there that they missed. That is not only the hallmark of the silver, but also where it came from. Definitely a beautifully and well-crafted piece. And on the inside, someone had a little amethyst stone that had the word hope engraved on it. So this was definitely a box that was absolutely cherished. This was important to somebody, and you can see, look how white the inside of this is. Sterling silver, when soldered, will raise the fine silver to the surface, so it might appear more white. Look at how they open back, set this amber, and again, the craft on this, it snaps together, it stays together, very well made, extremely well made. And as soon as I saw that, I knew it had to come home with me. As a sterling silver and amber box, I wouldn't sell this for less than around $300 to $400, probably on the higher end of $400, because look at the size of the amber. I mean, that as an amber ring or a pendant, that's at least $200 to $300, and we know that. So I think in the day, I paid $8 because it left me with a little bit of money for gas for the next few days. So I'm really, really glad that, again, took the chance on something that even then I really didn't know what I was dealing with. All right, on to a costume set, and then we're going to try and get this video done in the next couple of minutes here. This is by Jomaz, and again, in the day, I didn't down costume jewelry, but I didn't quite understand it, I still sometimes struggle to invest, but there are certain names and certain designers and certain end results that I can't help myself. And this is by Jomaz, Blue Aurora Borealis Rhinestones, and AB glass shells that are glass. It is signed Jomaz right there on the ear clip. And it comes with the matching necklace and the matching bracelet, and every single stone is present, accounted for, and the rhodium plating on the metal is in such good condition. This set looks like it was never worn before. And, when I bought this, again, I think it was $24 or $28. If I put this online, I would have every expectation that this Jomaz set would now go at least $500 to $600 and maybe even higher. As a set with the necklace, bracelet, and earrings with all the stones intact and all of the finish in really great condition, I think it may surprise me and go for $1,000, But again, it was something that I knew was important. I looked at its craft, each stone so carefully prong set, and very high quality. When you see costume that looks like this, go after this. Maybe look past the J. Crew. And I'm not down on J. Crew, but maybe look past it. Maybe reach for something that's like this, which is slightly more advanced in its timelessness, its craft, and its detail. The design is also just completely revolutionary for that time period. And again, that would be late 50s on that specific one. So this is interesting, and I'll bring this to future videos. So this box, as soon as I saw the box, I knew it was important. And it was in a Ziploc bag hanging at the checkout of a thrift. And don't ask me if they didn't open it, but when I opened it, it had to come home. And that is officially an internally flawless diamond. The center stone is just at a carat. The baguettes that surround it are, I think, another almost full carat. So incredibly well crafted in platinum, signed on the inside, and there it is. Boom, right there. Cartier, original Cartier box, and again, it was one of those days at the thrift. This is probably 2001 or 2002. And I don't know exactly what happened, but I collected old boxes back then. And what happened? Did the thrift store not check the box? I don't know. But to get a Cartier ring in platinum from the 1920s, nestled in its original Cartier box, it was a magical day, and it's days like this that still happen. So I want to make sure that, look at that stone. I want to make sure that everybody goes to the thrifts, be very thorough, do not leave a stone unturned, please. Now, this one did not come in this box. I put these two rings in this box, but these two rings did come from the thrift store. And of course, they were in the sterling silver tray. This is around 2003, 2004. It was out in, at the time, I lived close to this thrift. And it was out in Fairlawn. And this is 100% a diamond. It is exactly 1 carat. It is right at a carat. So the bands are 14 karat gold, but the stone is fantastic. They had it in the sterling silver rings, and all the silver rings were $9.99. $9.99. And the amazing part of this was this had been out in that tray for literally 3 weeks. 3 weeks. This diamond ring sat in that tray for $9.99. And I'm guessing that people just thought it was too good to be true. So again, A very lucky find. I felt extremely blessed, extremely well cared for, and again, I'm so elated. And I guess why I had kept this was it was a testament to the fact that look high, look low, and touch everything. Don't be afraid to touch everything. You know, shopping is an excursion. Shopping is an experience. Hunting is an experience. And again, I guess why I don't consider this sourcing is because I go out and I find it. You know, I don't let a source find me, you know, in a way, but I let the items find me. I let them speak to me. This one, again, I could talk, whoops, let me zoom out for you on this one. I could talk about this for a long time. It's Mexican sterling silver, and these are always wrong to be attributed to Margot de Tasco. Yes, Margot de Tasco did the enamel snake necklaces, but this one's not by Margot. And I wanted to correct everybody because this one's definitely not a Margot hallmark. This is post, I believe, 1970 or 1974. I forget the exact that starts with the TF and the hyphen mark. People get a little crazy over that, and I'm not sure why they do, but they go like a little bit ballistic. And there's really, to be honest, there's really no reason to. But we look for the early Mexican marks. So anything that's pre the TH or the TF or the hyphenated, it's customarily, it's two letters and then a 2-number system. But we try and find stuff before that. The reason why I bought this was it was in a bag with other costume jewelry, and as soon as I saw the head, I knew. I said, it's sterling, it's coming home with me. Again, the bag I think was $24.99. I wouldn't sell this version for less than now $650. So, but it's all fully articulated. The enameling on the snake is fantastic, and I'll zoom in. The gradation in the patterning and the way these links are put together, really, again, something that as a metalsmith and a silversmith, I absolutely loved it. And I've worn it a ton. So that's probably going to stay with me for quite a while. Let me reach for a couple more things and I'm going to get this video done for you. So I'm moving some stuff around. Always check. This one's in a bag for a reason. Always check the back hallmarks on things. This one, again, maybe they just didn't know, but as soon as I saw it, I knew it was George Jensen. I knew it was Danish Modern, and right there, they probably couldn't read the hallmark. Let me try and zoom in on that for you so you can see the dotted oval. That is the later Jensen mark. Let me see if I can zoom in. Sorry about that. Let's see here. There you go. George Jensen, made in Denmark. And then the number, the model number of this. I believe this goes with the Splash bracelet. I believe. Unless I'm wrong, but and I could be. So a little bit of overwhelming information on my brain today, but beautiful sterling silver. Again, this was $14.99. Retail online is probably like $275, $250, $275 for a Jensen brooch. And then I had collected puffy hearts for forever and a day, and I got really lucky at the thrift. This one was in a bag of costume. And tons of puffy hearts, tons and tons and tons, and a little teapot, Capricorn charm that I added because I'm a Capricorn. And again, I used to wear this back in the day, and I think that this one was in a bag. I think it was $9.99, I think, back in the day. But these puffy hearts, each one has, engraving of initials of the person that they were presented to, little turquoise stones. I do have one that's Walter Lampel, and Lampel puffy hearts are really magical. And I have, I love the American flag. I absolutely love that. Enamel American flag. And then I think this one is Navy. Yep, that one's Navy. And this one's Marines, I believe. Yep. That one's Marines, and I think there's one on here that's Army. Yes. So, and there's a J. And why not have a J for Jason? Good luck horseshoe. So yeah, that one and a multi-layer bracelet. She didn't stop at one bracelet. She wanted 3. She had so many puffy hearts and so many there's an enamel. She had so many puffy hearts that she had to have 3 bracelets. It's like the Jason version. This one, I'm going to show you this. I'm a little bit over because I wanted to end this at 30 minutes, but I don't want to rush. This is unmarked gold. And these are topaz or quartz. I haven't tested them, but let's just say that they're quartz. And then the reason why they missed this is because it's not hallmarked. And this is, in fact, 14 karat gold and also 12 karat gold. So here is the Victorian chain. And again, this clasp has been replaced. So this is a much newer clasp. And look at the difference of the metal. You can see that this is a gold-filled clasp, and you can see that this is a gold chain. You can definitely tell that that's gold. Solder seams and gold does tarnish. So let's remember, a lower carat gold like this, which is probably around 9 karat, it's going to tarnish. It's going to oxidize over time. And I think that's why this wound up in the costume section, hanging on the wall. And I think this one again, maybe it was $9.99. It was $4.99 or $9.99. And again, I couldn't get it off the wall fast enough. And my competition was there that day. And it just goes to show you that, even your competition may not be having a great day someday, and they might overlook something like this. So I got very lucky. And this one's around this is gonna be tough, 1850. It's very, very old. I would consider it late. No, I would consider it mid-Victorian, absolutely mid-Victorian. And the work that it took to put this together, and of course it's a compartment for human hair. So this would lift out. I don't want to do it now, but there is a glazed compartment, and then this lifts out and you put hair on the inside of it. So, but for a Victorian necklace, that was a testament to the fact of, please continue to go to the thrift stores. Turquoise pendant, that was just really a great example. As a silversmith, I loved that this was hand fabricated. I loved its modernist approach, and the turquoise stone was just a genius color. The matrix was fantastic, and a huge bail. So you know that this went on extremely large beads at some point. But a sizable piece. I mean, look, my hands are gigantic, and that's a big one. That was $4.99 or $5.99. And I believe that was Goodwill, and that was back in the day, but again, not signed sterling, and they just didn't know that it was sterling silver, and it absolutely is, and hand fabricated. So this whole thing is hollow formed, hence the hole, so that it didn't explode when it was soldered shut. And that I would sell for around $225 to $275. And again, I would absolutely get it because it's so unusual. This is a bracelet that I made. And I wanted to bring it because I just wanted to show you that the lucite bracelet was cracked. I had bought it at the thrift store for 99 cents, and the bangle was cracked. So I brought it home, and I sawed it in half, and I hand fabricated this hinge. So the pin comes out, it hinges open, it hinges back closed, you put the pin back in. Not the best craft on that. I should have made it to where the pin doesn't come all the way out. But regardless, I wanted to get this done. And then I inset sterling silver bezel cups and then little abalone shell. So I wanted to show something that was a found object that I bought at the thrift and then turned it into this magnificent faux rock crystal lucite bangle bracelet. And then I inset these glowing shells in sterling silver cups, and look at the push and pull of that surface. That is just nothing but absolute goodness. And I wore this an awful lot. So I'll leave that there. And then, two Art Deco bracelets. And I don't stop at something, but these were Art Deco, and these back in the day, again, $9.99 or $11.99. This one is enamel, and then the Sugarloaf glass sapphire cabochons. So they're faux sapphire glass. And then these are also glass. Someone would say they're rock crystal. They're not. Those are glass. And then sterling silver. But the way that these were constructed as Art Deco and just really fantastic versions of line bracelets, I bought them both the same day. But I liked the treatment and the opposite on each one. So those were just extraordinary. And, did I wear them? Yeah. And then did I get tired of them? Yeah. So, but that's just me. But I really like the Sugarloaf cabochons. And these are technically what a Sugarloaf should look like. Some people say Sugarloaf cabochon, and you look at them like you're nuts. It's just a cabochon. But these are technically Sugarloaf cabochons. So that's what a Sugarloaf looks like. So just remember that for a technical term. And then, okay. I'm almost done. Here's a sterling silver and coral ring. And this was one of the ones that I think this one was in 1995. 1995 or 1996, and it was so black when I bought it. And again, it was just in this bag stapled to the wall at a thrift, and it was $1.99. And gigantic because my hands are so big, but I love this ring. I love the turquoise, I love the coral, and I most certainly loved the silver work. I love the tendrils and the flowers. There's something so incredible in craft when you get to that point with silver. So there's that. I did fabricate this one, and I found the fire agate at the thrift store, and again, it was in a junk bag, and I think it was 99 cents. So I raced home and I set it in a sterling silver mounting. Let me take off this other ring and ditch that for a second. And look at the stone. And look at the bezel, how I bezel set this. I had to go up and down with that bezel because the stone should have had more of this cut out, but the coloration on the inside, purple, lime green, yellow, orange, red, really a fantastic fire agate. And look how gigantic it is. If I were to try and buy this fire agate today, that would be costing anywhere between $600 and $700 for a stone that large. And then to create a sterling silver mounting, so well crafted to follow the curve of the stone, that would, now I would charge someone, boy, $200 to $300 to set that stone, because the price of silver is so high. I'm going to leave that one on. So I went to the thrift and I found this gigantic Jelly Belly, and I do have one that's Trifari. These are not. I think one is Trifari. Yeah, one is Trifari and one is Mazer. This one is by Mazer, and some people say Mazer. I say Mazer. So this is just a regular cabochon glass eye, lucite body, rhinestones and sterling silver, and really fantastic craft on that. But that is technically a Jelly Belly. So everybody knows, as long as it has the lucite belly, it's a Jelly Belly. And then, so that's the large version. That's like the mama sailfish. And then here is the little baby sailfish. And this one is by Trifari. So look at the difference. This is by Mazer, and this is by Trifari. And this one is signed on the clip right there, and also signed sterling silver. So there's the Crown Trifari mark on the double fur clip. And so look at how fantastic these are. And again, I'm so glad that I kept the mama because I found the baby then, and now I can wear both of them together. And how could you not love them? They're awesome for costume. And again, price has gone way up on those again. They kind of bottomed out a little bit, and now they went right back up. All right, we're almost done. An agate brooch. This is just beautiful for crystal. It's an agate. It's in sterling silver, Victorian. So when you see that and you see the tube hinge, you're Victorian, pre-1900 on this one. And it's considered a specimen brooch. But what's really magnificent about this, look at the size of it. It's gigantic. Normally these are about a third of the size, but the stone is what did it for me. That crystalline structure in the stone and just the beauty of the patterning and the sterling silver frame. So had me right away, and I said yes to that. And then I'll end it with this one, and we'll say that I'm sure you've had enough of me. This one is emerald, sterling silver, and the way this is stepped down off of the chain. So you have this genuine 3+1 chain. So you have this 3+1. So there's 3 links, and then and a 1 oval link, and a 3+1 chain. But look at the arts and crafts pendant with natural emeralds that are bezel set, and they're sizable emeralds. They're not the best quality I've ever seen, but they're sizable, and you can see that this is completely hand constructed. So a step down Y necklace with a drop pendant, that to me was just so sexy and so timeless. And again, hanging on the wall at a very small thrift store way out somewhere in the sticks in Ohio. It was just, I don't even remember how to get to this thrift. But I believe this one was around between $5 and $10 for this one. And again, could I sell it for $275? 100%. Could I sell it for $375? Yeah, absolutely. But it's one of those things that I just loved the craft, and I love the skill that it took. So I'm at 42 minutes. I said I was going to keep it at a half hour. What do you know? I'm late again. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please hit the subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for another fun-filled video. Thank you so much. Love you all very much. Bye-bye.